everyone is stressed about money and they're concerned about it. And that doesn't matter if you have a lot of money or you barely have anything and you're living paycheck to paycheck and trying to pay bills. You have some level of stress.
Welcome to the Bucket List Life Podcast with Trav Bell, the world's #1 bucket list expert. Bucket List Life's mission is to help you get off the treadmill, stop Groundhog Days, hack your habits, and live a regret-free life. Because we know life's way too short not to live your bucket list life. So please welcome your host, Trav Bell, the Bucket List Guy.
Hey, bucket listers, welcome to another episode of the Bucket List Life podcast, and I am here today with Chad Willardson. Is that how we say it? Willardson?
That's perfect. Even with the accent, I understood it. I like it.
Mate, whereabouts are you in the world right now?
I'm in Southern California. You caught me at home, so this is a perfect time to talk about bucket list stuff.
Yeah. It sounds like you've certainly set up a bucket list life for yourself in what you've done. I Googled you and it said author straight up.
Yeah.
It just said author. And I'm like, I think that, but then I look back on your books and you've basically been a prolific author, like coming out of COVID. It's like you've done a book a year since coming out of COVID. Did you just like get smashed by COVID and went, nah, I'm gonna start writing or what?
I mean, I always love to write. I typically was just writing my newsletters. I've got a free newsletter out there. I was writing on LinkedIn. I share one post every morning on LinkedIn, no matter where I am in the world. And COVID happened, and I was like, I got to do something I got to do something interesting. I need to create a new challenge and obstacle for myself. And I publicly set a goal that I had never written a book at all. And I said, I'm going to publish write and publish one book per year for 10 years. So I want to do 10 books. And up on May 7th, my 5th book comes out. So I'm halfway done.
Oh, dude. Oh, wow. So what do you put? I ask every guest on the Bucket List Life podcast here, bit of a cheesy question. Work with me. When you're bucket listing into another country, and you fill out an incoming passenger card form, and you've got that little section that says occupation. What occupation? Now, you're a new author. What do you put as your occupation?
That's a funny question because I don't feel I have a great answer when someone's like, what do you do for work? But if you were to really simplify it and just give generic titles, I would say entrepreneur, investor, author. Those are the 3 titles in that order: entrepreneur, investor, author. Those are kind of my 3 generic titles. If you got to box me in, that's what I would go with.
Yeah, I don't think you can fit that in that little space that you got to write in. But anyway, we'll go with what Google says, author for the time being, and then we'll reverse engineer. Yeah, mate. Look, you've got the first book, I believe, was Stress-Free Money. Second was Smart, Not Spoil, which is really interesting. Third, Beyond the Money. Yep. And the latest, Fit for Wealth.
Fit for Wealth. And then I'll show you this. This is book 5. I just got this in the mail yesterday.
Oh, dude.
Wealth Wired Differently.
Oh, well, okay. So I've got to ask, how do we even start, right? I'm about to order all of them, and I want everyone to do the same. Thanks to Amazon, they do that for you.
That's right. I make it easy.
Dun. Give us a little synopsis of kind of what's the main message for each of those books that you're trying to get across to people, and then we'll reverse engineer how you became the expert in investing and everything else to do with your story. But what was the sort of main message of, say, your first book, Stress-Free Money?
Stress-Free Money it attacks the problem that most people have around their money issues. And I believe that everyone is stressed about money and they're concerned about it. And that doesn't matter if you have a lot of money or you barely have anything and you're living paycheck to paycheck and trying to pay bills. You have some level of stress, and there are obstacles to your mindset that prevents you from reaching that stress-free financial freedom place that you really want to get to. So that book was written for everyone. It wasn't like a specific niche. It was like everyone who desires financial freedom, who's feeling some stress. Here are some specific tips and insights that I've learned that could really help you get through that. So that's really what that first book's about.
Love that. And just FYI, people, Chad is a financial advisor for ultra high net worth individuals. And what's ultra high net worth? What's the definition of that?
It's kind of like a vague, generic jargon thing, but we work with entrepreneurs who invest at least $10 million with us. So that's the minimum starting point to hire Pacific Capital. Is number one, you're an entrepreneur, and number two, you have already liquid to invest at least $10 million. Not net worth, not real estate, not business ownership, but like actual hard money.
Right. And let's say I've got, I'm checking my pockets. I've got 10 million available somewhere here. I'm sure it's somewhere. Yeah. That's Australian dollars too. So the US conversion, it's a nightmare. Where are you? And you can be very generic here, not specific, because you're under all sorts of oaths. Where am I putting 10 mil today?
Yeah, $10 million. We invest on behalf of our clients as their fiduciary. And so we're entrusted to make the investment decisions. And at least 10 million plus is invested in the markets. So whether it's stock markets or ETFs with real estate, different bond accounts, so there are lots of different investment holdings that people can have in a financial account. That's the basis of the 10 million. The clients that we work with also have real estate investments and private ownership. They might have private equity or venture capital. They've got lots of stuff outside that we help manage them, manage those investments for them. But they've got to have at least $10 million that they're investing in an account with us. And that's going to be the proportions of how they invest that and what the mix is really depends on what they want, what cash flow they need, what growth goals they have.
So the first conversation is not, okay, we've got this thing called Bitcoin. Yeah, let's have a look over here. Smart, not spoil. That sounds like a real, please unpack that one. That's your second book.
Yeah, so my wife and I have been married 23 years. We have 5 children, and that book is written for families and kids and parents to really raise the next generation to be smart and not spoiled, to have some financial competency, to be prepared for success when they become adults. Most of us were not taught much about money as kids, myself included. And so this is a playbook for parents and kids and teenagers. Even some college kids really like this book, and they just get a foundation for what do I need to know about money to be successful? Where do I start? So
is it written for kids or parents?
It's written for parents, but I found that kids, I would say age 13 and above, also really like it. So it's not like it's terrible for teenagers and only parents should read it, but anyone 13 and above, it makes a lot of sense for. College kids. I've had good feedback from them as well. But in the back of each chapter, there's things for parents, suggestions of how you can bring up these topics to kids of different ages. So if you got kids under 7 years old, here's some ideas and activities. If you got kids that are preteen, here's some other things you could talk to them about. So
very smart. And that obviously led to your podcast as well, which is the Smart, let me just get it here, Smart Money Parenting Podcast.
Yeah, the Smart Money Parenting Show, where we talk about different money ideas for kids or just talking to your kids about leadership, success, and financial literacy.
While we're on that topic too, there's a couple of episodes there that I stumbled across, and I'm a stepdad to 4 kids, two 17-year-old twin boys here still, and the 2 older ones are outside the house. So this is really poignant. I like these 2 episodes, like confidence in kids. And also the title is My Kid is Lazy, exclamation mark. So
yeah.
again, is this for parents, same as the book, or, and what are those two sort of topics about? Because, the confidence in kids, don't even get me started, and laziness, don't even get me started.
The podcast show is probably more for parents. I hear some parents, some of the reviews we hear that they listen to it in the car driving to school, or they say, hey kids, we're going to have dinner, but I want you to listen to this 10-minute conversation on this podcast. And it kind of reinforces what the parents want to teach their kids, but it's not the parents' voice. So the kids are a little bit more interested, like, oh, who's this guy? What is he saying? So I think they're all short episodes. The longest might be 20 minutes, but they're all 15 to 20 minutes. Trying to hit one principle per show.
That's cool, and I like that. And I'm guilty too. That ninja podcasting in the car. When you don't want to say it, but you're letting Chad jump in there with an episode. Oh, it just so happens to be on in the car. How did that happen?
That's right. Perfect topic. Oh, are you guys listening to this? Listen to this.
Oh my God, who is this guy? I have no idea.
Right.
Dad, you've pre-programmed it to start when we got in the car.
Exactly.
That's stupid.
Exactly.
How has that resonated with parents? The whole money issue. Is the uptake been really positive? I dare say it has.
I think it has been, because people are hungry for help. They want help in this area. A lot of people want to teach their kids more about money and life and success than they were taught, but they just don't know where to start. And the school system, at least in America, doesn't really address this issue. So I feel like we're filling a gap that's out there, that families and parents, they want to connect with their kids. They want to teach this stuff, and they just need a little bit of support on how to teach it, what to say, what matters, what doesn't matter. And so we're building that community.
Look, dude, here's a massive question. If you were going to start a school, I didn't even write it down. I was just thinking, if Chad was going to run a school and he had a curriculum, what would you include that's not included?
Man, so I've written a couple viral posts on this, and I wish I had it handy. There are lots of things that I would include. I would definitely include the soft skills, which are not very much. I would include goal setting.
Define soft skills for those that don't know.
Yeah, like emotional intelligence, communication, conflict resolution, even things like public speaking, introducing yourself, personal finance, taxes, investing. I think there's so many topics that I would. Don't get me started. Like I'd completely turn it upside down, because I think most of the stuff that's taught is just like memorized data and facts. And with technology and AI and the internet, that's very irrelevant. Like that doesn't really matter anymore. I could look up statistics and write a research paper in 5 minutes or less. But can I talk to a stranger face to face and make eye contact and build trust? Can I resolve conflict? Can I agree to disagree with another human being? Where they feel one way about politics or religion and I feel another way, can we still be friends? Those are the things that I think I wish young people would learn better and be taught, because it would make life a lot better with all the adults in the world.
Yeah, and I don't have to remind you about the debt crisis, and especially student loans, and like the college system over there is so messed up, and we're very, very different in Australia. Our medical system, our college system, and guns, but we won't mention that, and the fact that we don't have any. Yeah, like how do you? Is that going to be like legacy play for you? Like I was on Tony Robbins says, have a humanitarian goal, and that's a massive call. Like that humanitarian goal or a legacy play. What does that look like, given your amazing experience and everything that you're writing and reading about? And I feel like you're just getting started too, because you've got too much energy to hang up the boots.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The legacy is really, it is based around family. To me, family matters a lot. It's the core unit of society. If you can have strong families and teach kids to be great people, then that impacts everything. Nothing I could do out in the business world will have as much of an impact as the things that I can do in my own family. So there's a great quote by David O. McKay that says, "No success can compensate for failure in the home." It's a great quote. I have it in my home office. And so it just reminds me that like the legacy building is really things that I'm trying to teach my own family. So it's great to have a big audience and a great business growth and all that. But I also want my kids to know who I am and to know what I believe in. And I want to teach them and empower them to thrive and succeed in their own way, whatever journey they're going to choose down the road, you know?
Yeah, dude, look, so cool. Look, and we'll dovetail around back to your third book, Beyond the Money. Now we're getting into bucket list territory here. So Beyond the Money, what does that mean?
Beyond the Money is written for those who already have made a lot of financial success. They already have a lot of money. That book is really geared towards high earners or people who have sold a business. And what do you do now? What do you do next? Now you have a lot of money. What's beyond that? How do you protect yourself from making poor decisions now that you've had success? And so it's really about the success mindsets and the way to cultivate what you've accomplished and turn it into something even bigger with not the same like grind struggle that when you were just starting out. Some people go back to that exact mentality when they've learned so much and they kind of dismiss all that and they think, well, this is the way I have to do my next phase of life. But they don't. You know, they can use what they've learned and they can grow from a higher place now that they've done some things. And that's something that's very significant to me because people get lost and they do feel alone and they have a lot of financial success. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to trust. And so that's a great opportunity to teach these people how to take that next transition.
Yeah, look, I do a lot of, for want of a better description, life coaching, even though I sort of, quiver at calling myself a life coach, but, look, it is what it is. And I've been the bucket list guy for 13 years. I know you do coaching as well, and you definitely coach around this area. At being the bucket list guy, done the TED Talk, done the book and all that sort of thing, got the podcast. So I've sort of been speaking, you're sort of being the why guy to a certain extent.
Right.
And helping people get up out of bed in the morning and go after their, I'd say a bucket list is a tangible why, or a tangible life plan. And it's not just about the travel that we want to do. It's about, everything else, legacy, et cetera, et cetera. So another high-level sort of business coach that I know over in North America there, he referred someone to me, one of his clients over in the UK, and his name was David, who's the client. And David just sold out of his company and he done all right. And he got on a call and he's like, I don't even know why Brad, our mutual friend, referred me to you, Trav. And I said, I don't know either. Dude, what's going on? Yeah. And I, do that little check-in. I said, like out of 10, 10 being great, 1 being crap, where are you at in your relationships? He's like, no, we're good. 8. All right, cool. How's the kids? Yep, same. 8, 9, they're great. Fantastic. Money, we're all good there. And he's like, no, mate, 10 out of 10, 11, 12. We're good. Bank account is healthy. Investments are good. How's your health? Well, that could be better. 6, 7 out of 10. All right. Well, I said, mate, why are we talking? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know why. And it sort of dawned on me. And I picked this up a while ago from someone else that said, people get fat and happy. And I said to David, not saying he's fat, I said, David, don't take this the wrong way. I know we've just met, mate. A little bit of rapport built, all good. I said, don't take this the wrong way. But someone said, this definition of being fat and happy, how does that resonate with you? And he's going, oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean by that. He's uncomfortable being comfortable. And he's like, I'm scared because if I don't do something, so I'm probably going to self-sabotage to a certain extent.
Yes.
Anyway, I said, mate, grab my book, get a bucket list together. And I'm not here talking about my stuff, but I said, I've got to find a reason to get out of bed in the morning because he's hungry. He's got the adrenaline, rush on the climb, But when that's no longer a thing, the hustle is not there. Thought, what do I do now? I've got all this energy, and that's how people screw up marriages. They create a problem, so they've got something to fix.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
Anyway, I said, mate, you got a week to come back to me, write out your bucket list, and actually write it down for the first time. I know you're really successful. You haven't even got a bucket list, but write one down. He come back with 350 things the next week.
No way! Wow!
Like,
wow,
dude! And he's like, I don't know what's just happened. I said, how's that laziness going? He's going, mate, I've already made bookings. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. My son's coming along with me, and I'm like,
wow. Wow.
How does it feel?
That's
and he's
amazing.
Like, awesome. And he leveraged even more from his business as a result. And you're talking about the same sort of thing here beyond the money, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's
and
it.
You'd see some fat and happy people.
Yeah, it's easy to get complacent if you don't have a purpose.
Yeah. How do you reignite that? Because people might retire early, sell it out of their business, and not like golf as much as everyone.
Yeah, I think most of the entrepreneurs that I'm working with they just have that creator DNA, and they're constantly looking to create and start new things and get excited and be challenged. And I haven't had to necessarily reignite it as much as I've had to tell people maybe to actually pause right after you have a big financial transaction, to pause and celebrate. It feels like I'm usually telling people to hold on a second, celebrate, pause, let's commemorate this moment, and then go back out and do something amazing. But not yet, because people are so like type A. I got to go into my next thing. I got to start something. I can't just be enjoying myself. I can't relax. I got to go. And so I usually have the other challenge where I'm like, hey, hold on a second. Celebrate with your family, your spouse, your business partners, your clients. Like, take a break for a little bit. Let's clear your head of what you just went through, and then let's map out what's next, and let's talk about what that looks like. So
love that. Your story, you started it, and how I come across you, Chad, was in Dan Sullivan.
It's a great book.
Ben Hardy's book, 10X is easier than 2X. And like, you're right up the front, big chapter written about. Did you do some coaching with these guys or with Dan?
No, I'm coached by Dan, and I personally coach Ben. So I'm kind of in the middle sandwich there. So I'm friends with both of them, and I was very honored that they included me in their last 3 books together. So it was Who Not How, The Gap and the Gain, and then 10X is Easier Than 2X, which are all wonderful books.
Amazing books. Yeah, amazing books. That's a hell of a threesome. So you started it at Merrill Lynch, right? So take me through what I'm fascinated with, and what I want to kind of dig into is you raising your standards as a financial advisor. You started at Merrill Lynch and then raised the standard, Talk to me about that.
It was not easy. It was definitely something that was challenged. Originally, it was just due to sheer survival. I thought about how many clients I would need to bring in to keep my job. They had quotas and they had requirements, and I had 18 months to bring in a certain number of investment dollars. And I was just doing the math, thinking like, if I go for any client, if I take all small clients, I'm going to need hundreds of new clients in the next 18 months. And that just doesn't seem possible. So I literally just did the math and said, okay, if I can get this many clients with this dollar amount, then I meet my goals and I still have a job. And I was married at the time, and my wife was pregnant after the first year working at Merrill Lynch. And I was like, all right, I just gotta keep a standard and go after it. And over time, I realized I would get whatever my standard was. And so why not aim for something bigger? And it was always kind of a scary leap that was tested every time. It was like, are you sure this is your new standard? Because I've got a lot of great opportunities right below your new standard. And every single time I had to stay firm on that. And it just evolved over time until I said, you know what, we're going to serve this very specific niche market. It's less saturated in this market. There are hundreds of thousands of financial advisors around the world, maybe billions. and they're all competing for mostly the same clients. And so I just felt like if we could get really good at serving one specific niche area, then we will stand out and have success. And that's where we are today.
So your climb, from up to ultra high.
It was it was $100,000 minimum to now a $10 million minimum.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So 100x actually. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the new book, Dan.
Yeah. Come on, Dan.
So over what sort of period of years are we talking here?
That is 19 or 20 years.
Okay. So, and some would argue that's very rapid in your game, right? Because what it came across as in the book, 10x is easier than 2x. What came across is how you created this new standard and then rapidly ascended that new standard. What I want to dig into is how do you adopt a new identity at every standard level and not go backwards? So this is the new normal for me. How do your identity has got to basically catch up with your new action. Motion creates emotion. So how do you create, when you're rapidly ascending like that, how do you then adopt a new identity at each level so quickly?
I wish I had a really good scientific model for this. I really don't. Yeah, I just, if I made a new commitment and I was getting rid of that 80% of the things that don't serve my future self and my 10x goals, I made it clear to the team that I work with, to the public on social media, to my family, to our current clients. I just said, this is our standard. And when I made it so firm in public, I didn't feel that I could have integrity and then go back on it. If I started going back on it, I felt like I would lose a lot of credibility with my team, my employees, my wife, my friends, my clients. It would be like, oh, he said that's his new identity, but look what he's actually doing. He's not actually sticking to it. So in a similar manner, if someone says, hey, I'm on this big weight loss journey and I'm going to lose a bunch of weight, look at what I'm doing, and then you see them eating 2 donuts on the couch watching television, you kind of lose a little bit of that credibility and that respect for what they just declared as their new identity. So other than accountability and just having integrity with my goals, I don't know if there's any other thing that I employed, but that's basically how I did it.
So public declaration, you're saying, is possibly a big factor in
I think so.
ascension.
I think so, because people knew about it. And so even in the book, he said, before they published the book, he said, you're at 5 million. When are you going to jump to 10 million? And I said, how about in a few months in January? And he said, are you sure you're ready? And I said, well, if we declare it and that's my new standard and I go out to the public with it and you put it in your book, then it has to be so. And so we simply changed everything. We changed the website, changed my LinkedIn, changed the marketing materials, changed the financial client contracts. And I said, team, this is it. From now on, this is who we serve. And so it changed just like that.
Was that one of the biggest sort of heart in mouth kind of jumps for you?
Yeah, I would say that was a big deal. It was a big jump for sure.
And, many people, and for people that are looking at making big jumps, 10x jumps, if you like, in their life, no matter what it is, what sort of tips, a handful of tips that you'd give people in trusting, adopting that new identity, what would you say?
I think, the greatest move that you can make when you're going for 10x jumps is not what you're jumping towards, it's what you're getting rid of. And for me, my greatest growth has come from what I stopped doing and what I got rid of. If I make a decision I'm never doing something again, you could ask my wife, I'm never doing it again. It is never happening. There's it's such a firm declaration. So if I get rid of something off my task list and I say, you know what, I've decided I'm not doing that anymore, it's literally not going to happen anymore. So it doesn't matter if it's my best friend, it's I set a standard and this is it. So to make 10x jumps, you have to let go of that baggage that holds you back. You have to cut the anchor. You have to cut the anchor, or if it's an airplane, you got to de-ice the plane, and you got to scrape all the ice off so the plane can take off.
So cool. And that's what really came across in the book when I first came across you. And the fact that, you seem to be a master of leverage and outsourcing life and trusting team. Let's talk about that for a second, especially outsourcing life and you going to your, let's call it the 80-20 principle, but it sounds like you're like you concentrate on the 5% and you let go of 95%. Talk to me about that.
I'm very much okay not getting the credit and not being the decision maker on everything. I don't really care. I don't need to be involved in lots of decisions. I think entrepreneurs and go-getters make mistake of feeling like they need to be in charge of a lot. They need to control a lot.
Is that ego, do you think?
I think a lot of it's ego and pride. A lot of it is fear. A lot of it is fear, just like I'm afraid to let someone else get in my business. Someone just asked our leader at Pacific Capital, like, man, how did Chad get you to handle most of the client meetings and most of the relationship management for all the Pacific Capital clients? Like, isn't he afraid that you're going to take his clients and go somewhere? And he just said, look, Chad hires and trains good people, but he really empowers them and trusts them and develops them to do big things. And if you're not willing to make that happen, then he's going to find someone who is. And that's the truth. Like, I trust my team implicitly to do a lot of things that most people might think, well, that's really personal. Like, I would still want my hands on that task. And for me, it's like, hey, if it's done right, I don't care who does it or who gets the credit.
So cool. And it's easy to, I guess, not easy. There's a lot of trust, ego, like you just said, to moonwalk out of the picture with any business. How is that mapped to your life?
It's changed my life completely, where I have the freedom to think creatively. I have the freedom to really, I'm more valuable to our clients since I don't do all the operations and I'm not in the numbers of all the financial planning stuff for every single client. Because of that, my mind is freed up. So a client is asking me, like, my text right now, right before this show, is someone who the partners are selling their business they're selling 10% of their business at a valuation of $2.5 billion. And he literally said, hey, we're working through the numbers. We're going to probably take $200 to $250 million off the table and invest it with you guys. I'm very confident that your team's the right team. I said, great. I'm here as a brainstorming partner if you need a listening ear to talk through anything. He said, I'm so grateful for you, Chad. You've come at just the right time. I feel like I have too many ears to talk to right now between my business partners, this company, this company, this company, this company, these investment bankers. I have tons of people to talk to. And I said, that's a lot of people. They're likely all smarter than me anyway, so don't even worry about it. And he says, I sincerely don't think so. My sense is that if you and I were using common sense and negotiating face-to-face, we would solve all these things quickly. These guys aren't super smart. They just have lots of rules and traditions and precedent in their firms. And I said, sounds about right. I'm here if you need me. So he's like, this guy's texting me, started a company that turned from $0 to $2.5 billion. And I'm just a thought partner, and I have free time to be able to brainstorm through ideas with them. And when they want to get technical and they want to dig into the tax planning and estate planning and investment research, they talk to my team. I can't be bogged down and weighed down with that stuff. So I stay in the creative level, and it's allowed me to create my business Platinum Elevated. Elevated is the leadership coaching program that I'm so excited about. I couldn't do that if I didn't trust team members to do a lot of the day-to-day work.
What's so valuable about that too, Chad, is that freedom leads to your ability to be so present and therefore so objective from a helicopter perspective that no one else can be in. Like that perspective is rare air, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You nailed it, because I can be present. And when people who have earned my time big time because they're big time clients. And they're like, I know you're so busy. And I say, actually, I'm not. Actually, call me on a Tuesday in the middle of the day. And because it's you, like, we're going to talk. And if you need to talk for 30 minutes or an hour, like, I'm going to talk to you. So
you don't hear that. You just don't hear that these days. You just don't hear that from crew, right?
That's true. Yeah. I feel it's a competitive advantage because I do have that freedom. My creativity is still high. My energy is high and I can be present.
Beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Look, and you can feel it. Like, who wouldn't want to have, you in their corner, being able to, apply that perspective, I guess.
Thank you.
So, what are you free to do more of these days?
I'm free to create and teach and inspire and influence. And that's what I'm doing through the books. Like, I could have never written books if I was bogged down in day-to-day operations. I'm free to work from wherever. So my wife and family and I travel all over the world, and we have a great time having experiences together. And
your Instagram,
I know.
That's and I'm like,
people may hate me, but I just, you know what? I hope they're along for the journey, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, hate is a strong word for envy. But mate, I go through your Instagram and your amazing kids and your wife, and I'm scrolling through your Instagram. I'm going, damn, this guy. And you are literally, crushing life, brother. And it's so cool. But you're actually doing it. You're not trying to be an influencer. You're just living it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love having you on, and thank you once again for jumping on the Bucket List Life podcast, because you are freaking living the bucket list life.
Thank you.
Seemingly,
you have a great name of the show, great brand. I love it. So I really was happy. I was excited to jump on.
And so go back to your latest book, not the one that you just showed me, but Fit for Wealth. Talk to me about that, because it doesn't look like you're too unfit and lazy. So, or you got one hell of a skincare routine going on, mate. I don't know.
There's no skincare. There's no
range.
skincare. No skincare. I just enjoy the sun and the beach. That's it. Yeah, Fit for Wealth talks about how connected our health and our wealth are. And we talk about how as this, the same disciplines and principles that apply to becoming physically fit also applied to becoming financially fit. And those things go together. And I get more questions from our clients about health and fitness and travel sometimes than they do about specific money questions, because they've covered their bases when it comes to their finances. Yeah,
wow. What are the top tips that you're giving in terms of fitness these days to people that, that you seem to say verbatim probably?
Yeah, I don't claim to be a fitness expert. I just think it's very interesting that the habits, like working with an expert, like having accountability, those things work financially and physically. So if you're working to be healthy, you should have an expert in your corner. I'm not that expert. Chad's not that fitness expert, but I encourage everyone to have an expert in their corner. You should have accountability. You should have technology. You should have tracking. You should create discipline and habits to protect you from temptation. When it comes to making bad money decisions, you need to have some kind of a process for making decisions, and not just, oh, that's an exciting investment. Why don't I put some money into that? It sounds really fun, or it sounds like it's going to be a slam dunk. It's kind of like you're walking by the dessert aisle, and there's a bunch of desserts that you want to try, but you're on this fitness goal, and it's like, well, why don't I just, I don't have a process, I don't have accountability, so no one will know, and I'll just come over here. So I think it's really it's the principles and disciplines that go together. And most of the time, the super financially successful clients we work with, they also have really good health habits. I just can't think that that's a random coincidence. I think the discipline shows up in all aspects of our lives.
True. It's, amen. And what do you have in terms of your, do you have a team of coaches? A lot of CEOs have looks like a team of coaches around them, and they come and go for different reasons, for different seasons. What do you have around you? Do you have a personal trainer? Do you have an instructor for this, or not?
I do. I wouldn't say it's a big team, but I have someone that works on the personal training, that gives me the workouts, that helps me keep me accountable for what I'm consuming. I belong to a program where I have a business coach. I have a couple masterminds that I'm a part of where we keep each other accountable. So I do think it's important. I mean, you see the top athletes in the world, and they all have personal trainers and they all have coaches. So there's no level at which you feel like, well, I'm past that, so I don't need any support. I'm not going to join any groups. I don't need any accountability. Like, that's a dangerous place to be in.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, talk to me about the Freedom Entrepreneur trademark and your Platinum group.
Yeah, the Freedom Entrepreneur to me it embodies what people are seeking, which is very much tied together with your bucket list brand. That is, they want the ability to do things and have experiences that last a lifetime with the people they care about. That requires financial freedom. It requires some freedom of time, and it requires the freedom of thinking to say, what is possible for me? And so that to me, if you look, like you said, you look at my Instagram, I'm not preaching from like some book. I try to live as much as I can in that space.
Yeah, yeah. A bit too much, to be honest, Chad.
Yeah, I know.
You're rubbing it in every day. You're making it worse for the rest of us. Damn your perfect life.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Mate, so talk to me about your coaching program, because that is just a natural extension of what you've done, who you advise, who's it for, where are they at when they come into it, and what sort of results are we getting?
Yeah, so the group it's platinumelevate.com. I call it Elevated. Elevated really is for goal-focused, growth-focused entrepreneurs who are looking for not only leadership, coaching, and mentorship by me personally in our group setting, but weekly accountability from certified and trained coaches who are challenging you, keeping you accountable, following up on your specific habits and goals, personalized to you. And I think that's one of the biggest difference makers. It's not just an events company where you show up at an event, you get hyped up, and then you go home and you get back to your habits and everyone forgets about it, right, for 6 months.
That's the problem with retreats, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, so every single week you've got a call where you've got to be accountable and you got to share what you're working on and how you did.
You help them sort of moonwalk out of their picture like you did?
That's the goal. But first, some of them are scaling, some of them are selling a business, some of them are starting a brand new business. So they're all at different phases, but our goal is that they accomplish breakthrough transformational goals every 12-month period that they're in the program. So I'm really excited about this, as you can tell.
Yeah, I can see you getting fired up about it. And personally, what are the top, and you've done so much, just look at his freaking Instagram, people. What are the top 3 bucket list items that you've done? And I'm going to pivot to, what are the top 3 items that you're yet to do?
Interesting. Wow.
What I call it a reverse bucket list.
Yeah.
Which is all your done list, which is what they play at your funeral, basically.
Right.
And then you've got your future bucket list.
I'm just thinking back of all the things we've done. I think though many of the island excursions blend together, to me, my greatest mental creative breakthroughs come when I'm near beautiful water. And so the bucket list experiences for me have always been in some incredibly beautiful tropical setting with clear turquoise warm water, fish, friends, family, just having an incredible time. We've swam with the sharks in many different places. We've done some cool snorkeling and cliff diving in some fun places. I think that I don't necessarily want to pick one island or one spot, but that's for sure one of them. A fun experience that we did with our 2 older kids, we went paragliding off the Swiss Alps in Switzerland, which was a really cool experience.
As you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Your idea or the kids' idea?
Our idea. My wife and I did it a few years ago, and then when we took our two older kids there, we took them with us. I wasn't sure that both of them were going to do it, but they were both very excited. So it was a fun experience. Business wise, I think one of the things that I would look back on and say was a really cool accomplishment that I never thought of as when I was younger. I never thought I would write any books. And so becoming a real author, that's something that I would count as.
Google says you're an author. It's got nothing to do with your investment and advising, mate. It's just an author now. Boom.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So that's something that I never pictured.
Your high school teachers are like, what the?
I know. Like, what's he doing? He's writing stuff now? For sure.
Mate, top 3 things yet to do on your bucket list. And do you get into dream boards, vision boards?
I do vision. Yeah, we do vision boards. We do vision boards as a family. At the beginning of the year, we have poster boards. We categorize them. We cut out a lot of pictures. We set goals. Even our younger kids do it. They participate every year. And everyone, even the kids, have it in an area that they can see.
Man, I that's my bucket list. I call it a bucket list board for 2000.
That's cool.
For 2024. And
that's
so,
awesome.
So you're on the number one right now. You're on the number one bucket list podcast in the world.
I love it.
Soon to be. But
what's that MDRT sticker there for?
MDRT. Oh, $1 Million Round Table. So that's, part of my, I'm yet to speak at $1 Million Round Table.
Well, guess what? I'm going to try to help you get on there.
Shut up. That's like,
dead serious.
Because that's a massive stage and I'm a speaker, like I've got my sort of speaking bucket list of different companies and and that's one of the ones that
I'm going to help you get on there. I'm going to help you. I'm going to make that happen for you.
Oh, dude.
I'm going to introduce you to the right people. I'm speaking at the MDRT Top of the Table stage in Kona, Hawaii in September myself.
Oh, wow. Very
cool.
So
I just went through the whole speaker application process and got chosen. And so I know the people.
Because that's literally on my bucket list, like some other companies that you on the speaker bucket list. And yeah, man, like that's a huge one for me. So
yeah, I think I'm going to speak on stage in September. I'm gonna wow them and do a good job, and then I'm gonna say, by the way, I have a friend that you need to have speak as well.
Oh, dude, I do a lot of stuff for Tiger 21.
Yep,
those people, through Go Abundance, which is another crew. What else we got? R360 Global, those guys. So yeah, man, like it's. I've got to introduce you. You probably know all these people anyway, but
that's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Top 3 things on your bucket list yet to do.
I feel like I need to revisit this. You've inspired me. I would love to actually stay on a yacht or a boat, big boat, out in the Caribbean somewhere, the British Virgin Islands. I've had many friends and clients talk about how cool that is for a week and just have that experience of actually sleeping on the yacht and staying out there in that beautiful ocean setting with someone making some good food right there. So
yeah, nice.
That's on the list. Business bucket list. I want this elevated group. I limited it to 100 leaders in this first year, and I want to get that to 1,000. I want a 10x growth this program and make it significant. So impacting a lot more people. And then a third, let's see.
I mean, I'm surprised we're actually I'm surprised you're not at Bora Bora right now doing this.
I know.
Like, it seems like every second day you're a freaking Bora Bora dude.
I should be. That's why I said you caught me at home. I think, I just had a really interesting conversation with a friend who lives and is from Dubai. And he said he had just an incredible picture of me speaking to a large group and a massive audience and creating a cool business opportunity out there in Dubai. And that sounded like a really fun challenge and something that we're going to brainstorm together in Croatia this summer. So that, to me, I got to put that on the list.
Well, there's something brewing there, mate. Final question: what, the namesake of the podcast here? What is a bucket list life for you?
It's a great question. It's a life full of freedom and incredible experiences that is completely location agnostic. That's it.
Well, this microphone here, I can't drop the mic because it's too heavy and it'll screw up this interview. But if I could, I'd drop the mic right there, bro. That's unreal. Apart from buying your books, getting involved in your programs, watching your really crappy life on Instagram, and your amazing, good-looking family. Look, apart from following you on all those, and we'll drop all that stuff in the show notes. What do you want people to do? What do you suggest? How do they become part of your world, bro?
Yeah, I think the simplest place where we are congregating people who want to stay in touch and do things together is on just my main website, chadwillardson.com. The only two platforms that I'm on social media wise are LinkedIn and Instagram. So those are the two places where we can engage in social media, but my website really has anything if you really are interested in checking out what we're doing. That's the place to find me.
Love it. Chad, you go back to your Bora Bora life, mate. Thank you so much for being a part of the Bucket List Life. I'm so stoked that we could finally get this together. And, mate, I wish you all the best and just keep being the example that you are. It's really admirable and inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. Thank you for the brand. And thank you for reaching out and asking me to be a part of your great show and everything you're doing.
Awesome, bro. Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to the Bucket List Life podcast with the world's #1 bucket list expert, Trav Bell. For more great content, go to www.thebucketlistguy.com. We'll see you next time.